Hello everyone, this is Jason from Primetime Aquatics. Thank you so much for being here in today's video. You know, I figured it's been over a month since I announced that we were changing this whole fish room around. We've made some progress. It's kind of at its ugliest, messiest part right now. Let's go take a look. All right, so here is the fish room right now. We are making progress, and you're going to see what I'm talking about here in a couple seconds. It doesn't look the way it used to. In fact, it's kind of interesting. As we are adjusting things, the fish room is getting darker because we don't have quite as many tanks. So let's just start. Well, we can start way back there. You're going to see that there's one tank with one light on over there. There used to be 3 tanks back there. There's still 3 tanks, but the 2 of them, top and bottom one, are empty. The 23-gallon bow front is gone, and so that's been broken down. The 37-gallon, the only reason why this tank is still up and running is we had hillstream loaches that decided to have a whole bunch of babies, and now they're getting larger, which is great. But I don't know if you know this, but hillstream loaches are extremely difficult to catch, and when they're tiny like this, they're even more difficult to catch. So the plan is to get the rest of those baby hillstream loaches out of that tank and then into one of these quarantine tanks. Here, let me move the chair. We've got 3 quarantine tanks, and that bottom one has got some hillstream loaches in it, but for the most part it's basically empty. And so we're going to try to move those fish out of there, that 37-gallon, and into that bottom tank over there. The other tanks have a couple of leftover quarantine fish from back when we were bringing stuff in that are going to be moving pretty soon. And so that's what's happening there. So this stand, I'm thinking in the next week or so, probably by the time you watch this video, this stand, that tank will be gone, just to kind of free up that space. You're going to notice that the 10 gallons are gone. And so those 3 10s, I never liked those 10 gallons the way they were there. They just kind of stuck out, and they just, I don't know. I didn't like the look that they provided, but we needed those tanks at the time for quarantine, even before we were selling lots and lots of fish. And so that was kind of the issue there. We still have the 420s here, and those are staying, like I said before. Right now, this tank is empty except for one bristlenose pleco. And the reason it's empty is it's actually going to be replaced with one of the tanks behind the hot water heater back there, because it's got a kind of like a 3D background. And so this tank will actually get taken down, and that one will replace it. I have rocks on the ground, and those rocks are going to be used to escape one of these 20-gallon tanks. I don't know which one yet. This one has become kind of a catch-all, so a lot of the smaller fish that we had that we didn't know what to do with, there's some fish in here. So there's some Cory cats, what appear to be panda Corys. I'm trying to think. I don't really look in this tank. A lot of these fish are Joannas. We have some small pseudomogul rainbow fish, it looks like. And, oh, we've got those. That's pretty cool, the L11As. And some interesting plants. That tank over there is also kind of a catch-all, but it's a catch-all for a different reason. Joanna is storing plants in here right now. It's actually kind of cool just the way it is. I'm not going to lie. I kind of like it. I mean, I take these plants out of the pots, but it would look pretty decent. But we do have a couple of the transvestitis in here. So those are in here, but that tank will get rescaped. This is the tank that Joanna did already. She's got some pencil fish in here, and just kind of floating some jungle bell in there for right now. Obviously, one of the big changes is the center island here. I mentioned that we were going to be taking a lot of these tanks, all these tanks down, and we have basically started that. So those 2 tanks are empty. They're just next green water swap. I'm going to just donate them to green water, and then people can buy them there. That tank's empty. So is this one with the light on. We haven't fully cleaned it up yet, but there's nothing in here. And the only reason why the light's on is because this tank has some red spot gobies that we're going to be using for escape here pretty soon. And then I did find somebody who wanted the multis, and so that low boy. So this whole thing will be coming down. Again, by the time you watch this, I'm hoping this thing will already be down. And the reason for that is not because I don't like that center island. It's because I want to put seating in the center of this room. And so basically, let me show you kind of what I mean. I've got a chair right here. And so if I put seating here, this is what I see. Okay, so this is kind of a cool view. And then you go this way and you're like, yeah, that's not the best, because I can't see any, most of the 40s over there because this thing is in the way. So that's got to move, and then I'll be able to have a nice panoramic view of all of the tanks that we've got going on here. You saw this video, hopefully, that we rescaped the 125, and we've got these really cool pale chubs is what they're called, but that's looking good. And so my next plan really is, I think I'm going to scape that middle 40. It's going to be a goby tank, and then that will allow me to clear out the other 2 tanks that still have fish in there from down below the 50-gallon lowboy behind the hot water heater. I think it's going to look cool. So that's kind of the plan right now, because a lot of these 40s are basically empty. These tanks here are all mostly empty. That tank up there is empty. This one has got my blue dream shrimp in there, and I'm just going to pull some of that valve out, and I need that valve for some of the other scapes we're going to do. But we are making progress, and I guess that's the main point here, is when you look around the fish room, we're making progress. The 75 here, I was thinking about totally rescaping it. I might just kind of clean it up a little bit, but I do somewhat like the way the wood and the rocks are in there. Check this out. So this happens a lot in our fish room. The red on the dragonstone, that is a red algae, and we get that in many of our tanks. And I really like it. It grows very, very slowly. To my knowledge, there is no living things or fish that eat it. Sorry for the glare, but hey, you know, that's what's happening in the fish room right now. But we have it in a number of our tanks, and I actually don't mind it. You can see it's kind of grown up there on the uplift tube of the sponge filter as well. Now, the one thing that we are going to be doing, I think for the most part, believe it or not, is getting rid of almost all the hang-on back filters that are kind of residual hang-on back filters in the fish room in favor of these Shark Pros, or where it's appropriate, Shark Pro Nanos, if a tank actually needs extra mechanical filtration. And the reason for that, I don't know, I might have mentioned this before, but pretty much every single hang-on back filter brand that we've ever had at one time or another has put water on the floor, just because there's a possibility that can happen. Not all the time. This is the one exception right here, this one filter. That's the newer AC50. It's been great, but pretty much it doesn't matter what the brand is. It doesn't matter more or less what the size is, but I don't want to risk that at all anymore. So there is no risk of that happening with an internal canister filter. So I don't think there's really going to be a lot of need for that. This tank down here, once I figure out stocking and what we're doing, we'll definitely need it. That tank needed it. If another one does, like maybe this goby tank, I'm not sure that just the sponge filters will be enough. So I might put a Shark Pro Nano in there just to get some horizontal flow in that tank as well. But I think that's what we're going to be doing with that. So again, we're getting close to, my hope is by the end of the year, again, I've said this before, I'm not putting any pressure to get it all done right away. I want to enjoy the process. But my hope is possibly by the end of the year, we can do a fish room tour and actually have it be interesting and not just be like, empty tank number 1. Holding tank number 2, basically empty tank number 3. I want to get to a point where we have something to look at, like back in the old days where I did a fish room tour and every tank, to me at least, had something interesting in it. And so I would love to hear from you. Are there fish you would love to see? I'm trying to do fish that are, well, things I haven't done before. They don't necessarily have to be rare, but I do want fish that it's just not, I haven't done a lot of. So I've mentioned this before, but like the Lake Tanganyika thing, I've pretty much kept them all. So I'm not super interested in doing more. Not that they're not awesome fish, they are, but I've done them all already. I've done most of the rock dwellers, most of the shell dwellers. So I'm trying to look for different things to put in those 20s and the 40s as well. That's why I thought the goby tank up there would be pretty cool. Just kind of highlight some different types of gobies and stuff. But yeah, that's kind of what's going on now. I can't wait to get seating in here, right? So I don't know. Again, love to hear from you. What ideas do you have for seating in here? It's got to be something where it's comfortable. I can see pretty much all the tanks. That would be ideal. And I am toying with the idea. I don't know if I'm going to do it, but hanging off the ceiling, a retractable screen, and then, because believe it or not, I have like a projector, you know, like the big screen projectors. We used to play them upstairs on our wall back when the wall was completely empty, and you could basically watch a movie on the entire wall. It was pretty awesome. And so I thought about doing that here, have a pull down screen. I don't know if I want to do that or not, but I definitely want some seating, a table in here. So we'll see. All right, everyone, so that's the progress we've made so far. Like I said, I'm not rushing this project. We take a little bit at a time. Every week we get a little bit of stuff done. As always, thank you so much for being here. By the way, if you want to see the gallery this summer, check out that video in the upper right-hand corner. Thanks for being here. We'll see you next week.